The knock came at 5:47 a.m., sharp, insistent, wrong. Noah Carter froze mid-step in his kitchen, coffee pot in hand, heart suddenly loud in his chest. Nobody knocked at that hour. Not in this building, not ever. Through the peephole, he saw her, Elena Brooks from 4C, still in yesterday's black dress. Mascara streaked down her face like war paint, eyes hollow and wild. They'd buried her husband 16 hours ago. Noah's hand hovered over the deadbolt. He didn't do this, didn't do tears, didn't do other people's grief. But something in the way she stood there, swaying slightly, made him open the door anyway. "I can't be alone right now," she whispered, and the rawness in her voice cracked something open inside him he'd spent years keeping shut. "If you want to see how two broken people find their way back to life, stay with me until the end. And hey, drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels." Now let's go back to where it all started. Noah had learned early that mornings were survival. You didn't think, you moved. Alarm at 5:15. Feet on cold hardwood by 5:16. Coffee brewing by 5:20. Shower by 5:30. Wake Mia at 6 when the first light started creeping through the blinds of their cramped two-bedroom in southeast Portland. Breakfast by 6:20. Usually scrambled eggs because she'd eat those without complaint. Daycare drop-off by 7:15, work by 7:45. The structure kept him sane. The structure kept them both afloat. So when the knock came at 5:47, it didn't just interrupt his routine, it shattered it. Noah stood there, coffee pot still in his hand, Colombian drip going cold, staring at the door like it might explode. His first thought wasn't concern. It was annoyance. Then fear. Then, when he looked through the peephole and saw Elena Brooks swaying in the hallway, something else entirely. They'd lived 3 doors apart for 11 months. He knew her the way you know people in apartment buildings. Nods in the hallway, small talk by the mailboxes, the occasional have a good weekend that neither of you meant. She was always put together. Hair perfect, clothes expensive in that effortless way that came from actually having money. Her husband Mark was some kind of consultant, traveled constantly, drove a Tesla. They didn't belong in this building. Noah always figured they were slumming it while house hunting in the West Hills. The woman on the other side of his door looked nothing like that Elena. Her black dress was wrinkled, twisted at the waist like she'd been pulling at it. No shoes, just stockings, one of them torn at the knee. Her hair, usually smooth and dark and carefully styled, hung in tangles around her face. But it was her eyes that made him open the door. They were red-rimmed and distant, focused on something 1,000 miles away. "Elena?" She blinked, focused on him. "Noah." Her voice came out rough, like she'd been screaming. Maybe she had. "I'm sorry. I know it's early. I just—" She stopped, swallowed. "I can't be in my apartment right now." Noah's mind raced through the calculations. Mia was still asleep. He had 45 minutes before he needed to wake her. He should say no. Should tell Elena to call someone, a friend, family, anyone but the neighbor she barely knew. But he didn't. "Come in." She moved past him in a waft of stale perfume and something sharper. Whiskey, maybe. Her shoulders hunched like she was trying to fold in on herself. Noah closed the door quietly, hyper-aware of every sound, terrified Mia would wake up and find a strange woman in their living room at dawn. "Sit," he said, gesturing to the couch. It was thrift store leather, cracked at the corners, but clean. Everything in his apartment was clean because clutter made his brain itch. Elena sat, didn't lean back, didn't relax, just perched on the edge like a bird that might bolt. Her hands twisted in her lap, fingers knotting and unknotting. Noah set the coffee pot down on the kitchen counter. "You want coffee?" "No." Then quieter. "Yes. Please." He poured 2 mugs, added cream to his, left hers black because he didn't know how she took it. When he handed it to her, she wrapped both hands around it like she was freezing, even though the apartment was warm. Noah sat in the chair across from her. Not the couch. Too close. He waited. Silence was something he'd gotten good at. When you had a 4-year-old, you learned that sometimes people just needed to hear themselves think. "They all left," Elena said finally. "After the funeral. Everyone came back to the apartment, and they stayed for a while, but then they all left. And I was alone, in that apartment, with all his things still there, his jacket on the hook. his shoes by the door. She looked up at Noah, and her eyes were glassy. I thought I could handle it. I told myself I just needed to get through the day, and then I could fall apart. But the silence, her voice cracked. I can't stand the silence. Noah didn't know what to say to that. He'd lived in silence for 4 years now, ever since Sarah left. He'd gotten used to it, almost liked it sometimes when Mia was at daycare and the world narrowed down to just him and his thoughts. But he could see how it would feel different for Elena. One day you're married, making noise with another person, filling up space together. The next day they're gone and the space is suddenly enormous. You don't have to talk, Noah said. You can just sit here. Elena's hands tightened around the mug. I don't know you. I shouldn't be here. Probably not. I didn't know where else to go. Noah nodded. It's okay. They sat like that for 20 minutes. Elena staring at her coffee, Noah watching the clock, listening for any sound from Mia's room. At 6:05, he heard her shifting around, the creak of her bed frame. She'd be up soon. I need to get my daughter ready for daycare, Noah said quietly. Elena looked up like she'd forgotten he was there. Right. I'm sorry. I'll go. You don't have to, but she's 4 and she asks a lot of questions, so I'll go. Elena stood, set the mug down on the coffee table without having taken a sip. She moved toward the door, then stopped. Turned. Thank you. You didn't do anything. Exactly. She tried to smile. It didn't reach her eyes. Thank you for not doing anything. Then she was gone, and Noah was alone with the smell of coffee and perfume and the feeling that something had shifted, just slightly, in the architecture of his carefully controlled life. The knock came again the next morning, 5:51 this time. Noah was already awake, already dressed, coffee already brewing. He opened the door without checking the peephole. Elena looked worse. Same black dress, or maybe a different one. He couldn't tell. Hair pulled back in a messy bun. Eyes somehow more hollow. Can I? Yeah. She came in, sat in the same spot on the couch. Noah handed her coffee. They didn't talk. At 6:15, Noah excused himself to wake Mia. When he came back out with his daughter trailing behind him in unicorn pajamas, Elena was gone. The third morning, Noah left the door unlocked. She came in at 5:49, poured her own coffee, sat on the couch. Noah worked on Mia's lunch in the kitchen, PB&J, apple slices, goldfish crackers, the sounds of the knife on bread, the zip of the lunchbox. The routine of it all seemed to calm Elena somehow. Her breathing evened out. Her hands stopped shaking. On the 4th morning, she spoke. Mark died in a parking garage. Noah's hand stilled on the cutting board where he'd been slicing a banana. He didn't turn around. Heart attack, Elena continued. He was 41. 41. No history, no warning. He was picking up his car after a client dinner, and he just dropped. Security guard found him 30 minutes later. They said he probably didn't suffer. They always say that, don't they? Like it matters. Like knowing he didn't suffer for long makes it better that he's dead. Noah set the knife down, turned. Elena was staring at her coffee, but her eyes were dry. That scared him more than the tears. I'm angry at him, she said. Isn't that insane? He's dead and I'm furious. Because he left me. Because he didn't take care of himself. Because we'd been trying for a baby and now I'll never... She stopped, swallowed hard. I'm a terrible person. You're not. You don't know me. No, Noah agreed. But anger's just sadness with nowhere to go. You're not terrible for being angry. Elena looked at him then, really looked at him, and something flickered across her face. Surprise, maybe. Or recognition. Who told you that? My therapist, about 3 years ago. You're in therapy? Was. Can't afford it anymore. But some things stick. Elena nodded slowly, took her first sip of coffee, made a face. This is terrible. Yeah, well, I'm a single dad on a contractor's salary. You want good coffee? Go to Stumptown. I don't want good coffee. I just want... She stopped. I don't know what I want. Noah pulled out the chair across from her, sat. You don't have to know yet. Everyone keeps saying that. Everyone keeps saying it's okay to not be okay, and I just want to scream at them. Because it's not okay. Nothing about this is okay. Mark is dead and I'm 34 years old and I have to figure out how to be a widow, which is a word that sounds like it belongs to someone's grandmother, not me. I have to go through his things. I have to close his accounts. I have to tell people over and over, my husband died, and watch them do that face. You know the face, that sad, pitying, uncomfortable face. And then I have to make them feel better about it because people can't handle death. They can't handle someone else's pain. So you end up comforting them for being uncomfortable about your tragedy. Noah did know the face. He'd seen it 1,000 times after Sarah left. Different situation, but the same inability of people to just sit with discomfort. The same need to fix, to smooth over, to make things okay when they weren't. You don't have to comfort me, Noah said. I'm not uncomfortable. Elena studied him. No, you're not, are you? I've had practice sitting with things being bad. The divorce? He raised an eyebrow. Small building. Mrs. Chen talks. Mrs. Chen needs a hobby. Elena almost smiled. Almost. Then Mia's door opened and Noah heard the shuffle of small feet on hardwood. Daddy? Noah stood. Morning, Bug. Get dressed, okay? I'll make your eggs. Mia appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. She saw Elena and stopped. Who's that? This is Elena. She's a neighbor. She's just visiting. Mia stared at Elena with the unfiltered intensity only 4-year-olds could manage. Are you sad? Elena's breath caught. Noah moved to intercept, but Elena spoke first. Yes, she said simply. I am sad. Why? Mia, Noah started. Because someone I love died, Elena said, and I miss him very much. Mia processed this with the same seriousness she applied to everything. My goldfish died. I was sad too. Elena's face did something complicated, a twist between breaking and almost laughing. I'm sorry about your goldfish. His name was Bubbles. Daddy said he went to fish heaven. I'm sure he's very happy there. Mia nodded, satisfied. Then she turned to Noah. Can I have chocolate milk with my eggs? No. Please. No. You're mean. Yep, go get dressed. Mia trudged back to her room with the dramatic sigh of someone deeply wronged. Noah looked at Elena, expecting her to be uncomfortable, to make excuses and leave. Instead, she was watching the hallway where Mia had disappeared, and her face held something soft, something that looked almost like peace. She's beautiful, Elena said quietly. She's a terror. Those aren't mutually exclusive. Elena stood, but slowly this time, not rushing. Thank you, Noah. Same time tomorrow? She looked at him, surprised. You don't mind? Noah shrugged. Got coffee anyway. Might as well share it. After she left, he stood in the kitchen for a long moment, listening to Mia sing off-key in her bedroom, feeling the weight of what he'd just agreed to without quite understanding why. The days developed a rhythm. Elena arrived between 5:45 and 6. She poured her own coffee now, knew where the mugs were kept. Some mornings she talked about Mark, about their life together, about the million small things you don't realize you'll miss until they're gone. Other mornings she just sat, present but silent, while Noah moved through his routine. Mia got used to her, started asking questions. Why don't you have kids? We were going to. We just ran out of time. Do you like unicorns? I do now. Can you do a French braid? No, but I can try. That last one happened on a Tuesday morning when Mia decided her regular braid wasn't fancy enough for picture day. Noah had stared at YouTube videos at 6:30 a.m., growing increasingly frustrated, while Mia squirmed and complained. I can do it, Elena had said quietly from the couch. Noah looked at her, then at Mia. You want to try? Elena nodded. Mia scrambled over to her, and Elena's hands, steady for the first time in weeks, wove through Mia's fine blonde hair. The braid wasn't perfect, but it was pretty. Mia beamed at herself in the mirror. You're better than Daddy. Hey, Noah protested. It's true. Mia turned to Elena with absolute seriousness. Can you come every day? Elena's hands stilled. She looked at Noah, something uncertain in her eyes. Elena's our guest, Bug, Noah said carefully. She can come when she wants. But after that, something shifted. Elena's visits felt less desperate, more deliberate. She started bringing her own coffee sometimes, good coffee from the expensive place on Division. Started asking questions about Noah's day, about Mia, about the life they'd built in this cramped apartment. "How long have you been doing this alone, Nasi?" she asked one morning, about 3 weeks in. Noah was packing Mia's backpack, making sure she had her show and tell rock. 4 years. Sarah left when Mia was 6 months old. Left? Walked out. Said she wasn't ready to be a mother. Wasn't ready to be tied down. He zipped the backpack shut. Sent divorce papers 6 weeks later. Haven't heard from her since. That's... Elena stopped. I was going to say terrible, but you probably don't need my pity. No, Noah agreed, but it was terrible. For a while. Then it was just life. Do you hate her? Noah considered that. Some days. Mostly I just feel nothing, which is maybe worse. Elena nodded slowly. I'm afraid of that. Of getting to the place where I feel nothing when I think about Mark. Of forgetting what it felt like to love him. You won't forget. It just stops being the only thing you feel. How long? I don't know. It's different for everyone. How long for you? Noah met her eyes. I'll let you know when I get there. Something passed between them in that moment. An understanding, maybe. Or recognition. Two people who'd been left behind by different kinds of loss. Learning how to keep moving anyway. Mia chose that moment to run into the room wearing her shirt backward and one sock. I'm ready. You're not even close, Noah said, but he was smiling. Y pues. The first crack in Elena's grief came on a Saturday. Noah had Mia at the playground, the good one in Laurelhurst Park with the tall slide she loved. It was warm for April, sun breaking through the clouds in shafts of gold. Mia was playing with 2 other kids, building an elaborate sand city. Noah sat on a bench, half watching, half thinking about the project deadline looming at work. You look stressed. He turned. Elena stood there in jeans and a sweater, hands in her pockets. She looked different in daylight. More real, somehow. Less like a ghost. What are you doing here? I saw you leave with Mia. Thought I'd walk over. She sat down next to him, not quite close enough to touch. That sounded less creepy in my head. Noah huffed a laugh. Little bit. I'm not good at this. At being alone. At figuring out what to do with myself now that... She stopped. Mark and I had plans. Every weekend was scheduled. Hikes, brunches, visiting friends. I don't know how to have a Saturday with no plans. Welcome to single parenthood. Every day is no plans that somehow turn into total chaos. Sounds terrible. It is. Noah watched Mia dump a bucket of sand on another kid's head. He should probably intervene. It's also kind of great. They sat in silence for a while. Comfortable silence, which surprised Noah. He wasn't good with people. Never had been. After Sarah left, he'd let his friendships atrophy, too exhausted by work and Mia to maintain them. He'd gotten used to being alone. But this, sitting here with Elena, didn't feel like work. Daddy, watch, Mia yelled from across the playground. I'm watching. She went down the slide backward, shrieking with laughter. Elena smiled, and it was real. Not forced, not polite. Actual joy, flickering across her face like a candle in the wind. She's fearless, Elena said. She's reckless. There's a difference. Is there? Noah thought about that. I don't know anymore. Some days I think I'm protecting her. Other days I think I'm just scared. Of what? Everything. Her getting hurt. Me failing her. Her growing up and realizing her mom didn't want her enough to stay. He rubbed his face. Sorry, that got dark. I don't mind dark. Elena pulled her knees up to her chest, wrapping her arms around them. Everyone else wants me to be healing, to be positive, to be finding meaning in Mark's death like it's a puzzle I can solve if I just try hard enough. You don't do that. Can't solve death, can only survive it. That's bleak. That's honest. Mia ran over then, sand in her hair and joy on her face. Can Elena come to lunch with us? Noah looked at Elena. Can you? Elena hesitated. He could see her calculating, weighing. Then she nodded. Yeah, I can. They went to the taco cart on Belmont, Noah's favorite, cheap and fast. Mia got a quesadilla and proceeded to get cheese everywhere. Elena ordered fish tacos and ate them slowly, like she was relearning how food tasted. "This is good," she said, surprised. "Told you." Mark always wanted to go to nice places, sit-down restaurants with wine lists. I forgot what it was like to just... She gestured vaguely with her taco. Eat. Sometimes the best meals are the ones that don't require a reservation. Is that your philosophy on life? No, that's just what I tell myself so I don't feel bad about never going anywhere nice. Elena laughed. Actually laughed, bright and sudden. Mia looked up, startled by the sound, then grinned like she'd accomplished something. They walked back to the apartment slowly, Mia skipping ahead, Elena and Noah trailing behind. The sun was setting now, painting the sky pink and orange. Portland in spring, when everything was wet and green and alive. "Thank you," Elena said as they reached the building. "For what?" "For letting me exist. For not needing me to be okay." Noah shook his head. "You don't have to thank me for that." "I do, though, because most people can't handle it. Can't handle me being angry or sad or numb. They need me to be grateful for the time I had with Mark, or hopeful about the future, or some other bullshit that makes them feel better. You don't need any of that. I just need you to stop leaving your coffee mug on my table without rinsing it." Elena blinked, then smiled. "Deal." The shift happened gradually. So gradually Noah almost didn't notice it. Elena's morning visits went from desperate to habitual. She started staying longer, helping with Mia's breakfast, asking if Noah needed anything from the store. She brought groceries once, expensive cheese, fresh bread, fruit that actually tasted like fruit. Noah protested, said she didn't need to, and Elena shrugged. Mark had life insurance, a lot of it. "I have more money than I know what to do with and nothing to spend it on. Let me buy you cheese." So Noah let her buy cheese. She started showing up at odd hours, too. Saturday afternoons when Mia wanted to play dress-up and needed someone to be the evil queen. Thursday evenings when Noah's laptop crashed and he was panicking about losing his work. Sunday mornings when the sink backed up and Noah was elbow-deep in pipes and swearing. "I called my plumber," Elena said, phone already in hand. "I can fix it." "You're making it worse." "I'm not." Water sprayed in his face. "Okay, call your plumber." The plumber showed up an hour later, fixed the problem in 10 minutes, and charged $80 that Noah couldn't afford. Elena paid before he could protest. They argued about it after he left. "You can't just pay for everything." "Why not?" "Because I'm not a charity case." "I never said you were." "I said your sink was broken and I had money to fix it. Those are facts, Noah, not judgments." Noah opened his mouth to argue more, then closed it. She was right. His pride was getting in the way of practical reality. That was something Sarah used to criticize him for, always having to do things himself, even when accepting help made more sense. "Thank you," he said finally. Elena nodded, smiled. "You're welcome." But underneath the gratitude, Noah felt something else stirring, something uncomfortable. Because Elena was in his life now, fully embedded, and he was starting to rely on her. Starting to look forward to her knock on the door every morning. Starting to notice things. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was thinking, the soft laugh she saved for Mia's bad jokes, the careful way she avoided Mark's name on the days when grief hit hardest. He was starting to care. And caring was dangerous. It happened on a Tuesday in early May. Noah woke up at 5:15, same as always. Made coffee, same as always. Waited for Elena's knock. It didn't come. By 6, he was checking his phone. By 6:15, he was standing at his door, listening for sounds from 4C. By 6:30, Mia was awake and demanding breakfast, and he had to let it go. Elena didn't come the next morning either, or the morning after that. "Where's Elena?" Mia asked on the third day. "Busy, probably. Is she okay?" "I'm sure she's fine." But Noah wasn't sure. He knocked on her door that evening after putting Mia to bed. No answer. He tried again the next morning before work. Still nothing. On Friday, he ran into Mrs. Chen in the hallway. "You seen Elena?" Mrs. Chen shook her head, earrings jangling. "Not for days. Maybe she go away? Lots of people go away after someone die." "Need space." Noah nodded, went back to his apartment, told himself Mrs. Chen was right. Elena needed space. She'd been relying on him too much, needed to learn to be alone. This was good, healthy. He believed it for exactly 3 hours. Then he knocked on her door again, harder this time. "Elena, it's Noah. If you're in there, just let me know you're okay." Silence. He was about to leave when he heard it. Movement. The chain lock sliding, the deadbolt turning. The door opened a crack and Elena looked out. She looked terrible. Worse than that first morning. Hair unwashed, eyes red, wearing what looked like Mark's old college sweatshirt. "I'm okay," she said, voice hoarse. "You don't look okay." "I'm processing." "By yourself?" "How else would I do it?" Noah didn't have an answer for that. "Mia's asking about you." Something flickered across Elena's face. Guilt, maybe. "Tell her I'm sorry." "Tell her yourself. Come to breakfast tomorrow." "I can't." "Why not?" Elena's hand tightened on the door. "Because I'm getting better, Noah. I'm sleeping through the night. I'm eating meals. I went to the grocery store yesterday without crying in the parking lot. I'm figuring out how to be alone. And if I keep coming to your apartment every morning, if I keep letting myself lean on you and Mia, I'm never going to learn how to stand on my own." Noah felt something drop in his chest. "So this is goodbye? This is me saying thank you for everything, but I need to do this myself now." She started to close the door. Noah put his hand out, stopping it. "What if you don't want to do it yourself?" Elena looked at him, and he saw it then. The same fear he'd been avoiding. The same careful terror of wanting something again, of letting someone in when loss was still so fresh. "It doesn't matter what I want," she said quietly. "It matters what I need." "And what do you need?" "I need to know I can survive this. That I'm not just replacing one relationship with another because I'm scared to be alone." "Is that what you think this is?" "I don't know what this is. That's the problem." Noah pulled his hand back. The door closed, and he stood there in the hallway, listening to the sound of her footsteps retreating. He wanted to knock again, to push, to demand answers. But he didn't. Because she was right. Elena needed to figure out who she was without Mark. And maybe Noah needed to figure out who he was when he wasn't taking care of someone else. He went back to his apartment, locked the door, and stood in his kitchen, the same kitchen where this had all started. The coffee pot sat on the counter, cold and empty. He didn't make a fresh pot. That night he lay in bed and stared at the ceiling, thinking about Elena alone in her apartment, about Mia asking questions he couldn't answer, about the strange, hollow feeling in his chest that felt suspiciously like loss. Again, the silence lasted 8 days. Noah counted them the way you count days after surgery, aware that each one passing should mean healing, but feeling only the ache. He went through the motions: wake up, coffee, get Mia ready, work, pick up, dinner, bedtime. The routine held, the way routines do, but something was missing now. The apartment felt bigger, emptier. He caught himself listening for the knock that didn't come. Mia noticed immediately. "Elena's not coming back, is she?" It was Saturday morning, and Noah was making pancakes. The kind from the box because he'd never mastered the from-scratch version Sarah used to make. Mia sat at the table, swinging her legs, watching him with those two observant eyes. "She's just busy, Bug." "That's what you said about Mommy." Noah's hand stilled on the spatula. "That's different." "How?" He didn't have a good answer for that. In Mia's 4-year-old logic, people who stopped showing up had left. The reasons didn't matter. The absence was the same. "Elena's dealing with some hard stuff," Noah said finally. "Sometimes grown-ups need space to figure things out." "Did we do something wrong?" "No, not at all." "Then why doesn't she want to see us anymore?" Noah flipped the pancake, watched it land crooked in the pan. "It's not about what she wants. It's about what she needs." "That doesn't make sense." "Yeah," Noah said quietly. "It doesn't, does it?" He served the pancakes, 3 for Mia, 2 for himself. They ate in silence. Outside, rain hammered against the windows. Portland in May, everything gray and wet. Noah thought about Elena in 4C, wondered if she was eating breakfast alone, if she'd figured out how to make coffee the way she liked it, if the silence she'd been running from had finally caught up with her. His phone buzzed. Work email. A client wanted changes to the mock-ups he'd submitted Tuesday, wanted them by Monday. Noah read the message twice, felt the familiar clench of stress in his shoulders. He'd have to work through the weekend, which meant keeping Mia entertained while trying to focus, which meant neither of them would be happy. "Can we go to the playground?" Mia asked, syrup on her chin. "Not today, Bug. Daddy has to work." "You always have to work?" "I know, I'm sorry." Mia's face crumpled, and Noah braced for the tantrum, but instead she just nodded, picked up her plate, and carried it to the sink without being asked. That was worse somehow, her accepting it, her understanding that this was just how things were. After breakfast, Noah set Mia up with her coloring books in the living room and opened his laptop at the kitchen table. The mock-up stared back at him, half-finished, uninspired. He'd been struggling with this project for weeks. Couldn't find the right visual language. The client wanted something bold but approachable, modern but timeless. They wanted everything and nothing, the way clients always did. He worked for 3 hours, got nowhere. Mia played quietly, too quietly. At noon, he made her a sandwich, went back to the laptop. By 3, his eyes were burning, and Mia was watching cartoons with the glazed expression of a kid who'd given up on having a real day. The knock came at 3:47. Noah looked up, disoriented. For a second, his brain offered him Elena, but the knock was different, sharper, less tentative. He opened the door to find Mrs. Chen holding a casserole dish. "You look terrible," she announced. "Hello to you too." "When you last eat real food?" Noah tried to remember. "Breakfast. Pancake from box is not real food." She pushed past him into the apartment, set the casserole on his counter. "This is chicken adobo. You heat up, you eat, you stop looking like ghost." "Mrs. Chen, you didn't have to." "I know I don't have to. I want to." "You are good boy, Noah. Good father. You help people." Her eyes flicked toward the ceiling, toward where Elena's apartment sat 2 floors up. "Even when people don't know how to be helped." Noah closed the door. "She tell you that?" "You don't have to tell me." "I see. I see her coming here every morning for weeks. I see her stop coming. I see you looking sad, like Puppy in Rain." Mrs. Chen patted his arm. "Elena need time. You need patience. Meanwhile, you eat." She left before Noah could argue, and he stood there staring at the casserole dish, feeling the weight of being seen, of being known, even slightly, by another person. It had been so long since anyone had looked at him and thought to bring food. "What's that?" Mia appeared at his elbow. "Dinner. Can we eat it now?" Noah checked the time. 3:50. "Close enough." "Yeah, let's eat it now." The chicken adobo was perfect, rich and tangy, and exactly what Noah hadn't known he needed. Mia ate 2 servings, got sauce on her shirt, didn't complain once. After dinner, Noah gave up on work. He built a blanket fort with Mia in the living room, let her stay up past bedtime, read her 3 stories instead of 1. When she finally fell asleep, curled up in her bed with her stuffed elephant, Noah sat on the floor of her room and let himself feel it, the loneliness, the frustration, the stupid, irrational grief over losing something he'd never really had. He'd been careful for 4 years, careful not to want anything beyond the basics, careful not to let anyone get close enough to leave. And then Elena had knocked on his door at dawn, and he'd opened it, and now he was paying the price. The thing was, he didn't regret it. He regretted the ending, but not the middle. Not the mornings drinking coffee while she talked about Mark, or the Saturday at the playground, or the fish tacos on Belmont. He'd felt something during those weeks, something other than tired, something close to alive. Noah stood, joints cracking. He was 32, but felt 50. He walked to the kitchen, started washing dishes, and through the window he caught a glimpse of someone on the fire escape 3 floors up. Elena. She was sitting on the metal grating, knees pulled to her chest, staring out at the rain. He watched her for a long moment. Then he dried his hands, grabbed his jacket, and went out into the hallway. The rain had stopped, but everything was wet and dripping. Noah climbed the fire escape carefully, the metal slick under his shoes. Elena didn't turn when he reached her level, but her shoulders tensed. "You shouldn't be up here," she said. "Neither should you. Pretty sure it's against building code." "I used to smoke in college. Always came out to the fire escape. Old habits." Noah sat down beside her, leaving space between them. From up here you could see across the neighborhood, houses and apartments stacked like boxes, lights coming on as evening fell. The air smelled like wet asphalt and roses from someone's garden. "Mia misses you," Noah said. "I miss her too." You could come see her. I could. Elena's voice was flat. But then I'd see you, and I'm trying really hard not to do that right now. Why? She turned to look at him, and her eyes were clearer than he'd seen them in weeks, less haunted, more present. Because I'm starting to feel like a person again. A whole person, not just the sad widow everyone tiptoes around. And when I'm around you, I feel... She stopped. It's too much, too fast. What's too much? This, whatever this is, she gestured between them. I can't tell if I'm drawn to you because you're you, or because you were there when I needed someone. And I can't figure that out if I keep showing up at your door every morning. Noah processed that. So you're running an experiment, controlled isolation to establish a baseline. Something like that. How's it going? Elena laughed, but it was hollow. Terrible. I hate being alone. I hate the silence. I hate waking up and knowing the whole day is mine to fill and having no idea what to do with it. But I'm doing it anyway because I need to know I can. And when you know? I don't know. Maybe I'll feel strong enough to figure out what I actually want, instead of just grabbing onto whatever makes the pain stop. The words hung between them, honest and cutting. Noah wanted to argue, to tell her that what they'd built over those weeks was real, not just grief management. But he couldn't. Because she was right to question it. He'd been questioning it too. For what it's worth, Noah said, I don't think you were using me. How do you know? Because I know what it looks like when someone uses you. My ex-wife was pretty good at it. He picked at a loose screw on the fire escape railing. She used to say I was good at holding space. That's how she put it. Like I was a container for her feelings, not a person with my own. And for a while, I let her. Because I thought that's what love was, making yourself smaller so someone else could be bigger. Elena was quiet for a moment. That's not what I want. I know, but you're scared it might be. Aren't you? Noah thought about that. Yeah, I'm scared you'll wake up one day and realize you don't actually need me, that you were just lonely and I was convenient. But I'm also scared I'll wake up and realize I can't do this again. Can't let myself care about someone who might leave. So we're both scared. Apparently. They sat in silence, watching the city lights flicker on one by one. A car alarm went off somewhere. A dog barked. Life continuing around them, indifferent to their small, complicated mess. I'm sorry, Elena said finally, for disappearing without explaining. That wasn't fair. You don't owe me an explanation. We're not... Noah stopped, realizing he didn't know how to finish that sentence. We're neighbors. Friends, maybe. You don't owe me anything. I want to, though. Owe you, I mean. Elena turned to face him fully. I want to be the kind of person who doesn't just take, who can give something back. But right now, I'm empty, Noah. I've got nothing to give. I'm not asking for anything. I know. That's what makes this so hard. Noah stood, suddenly exhausted. I should get back. Mia's asleep, but I don't like leaving her too long. Elena nodded. Tell her I said hi. You could tell her yourself. Not yet. Noah climbed back down the fire escape, and this time he didn't look back. The days blurred together after that. Work deadlines, Mia's preschool graduation, a broken dishwasher, a heat wave that turned the apartment into an oven. Noah moved through it all mechanically, doing what needed to be done because that's what you did. Because falling apart wasn't an option when you had a kid depending on you. He saw Elena once in the hallway, carrying groceries. They nodded at each other, didn't stop to talk. Another time he heard music coming from her apartment late at night, something classical, piano. It made him think of Mark, of the life Elena had lived before everything shattered. 2 weeks turned into 3. 3 turned into 4. Mia stopped asking about Elena. Noah stopped checking his phone for messages that never came. He told himself this was better, cleaner. No messy feelings to navigate, no risk of getting hurt. Just him and Mia, the way it had been, the way it should be. Then June arrived, and with it, Mia's 5th birthday. Noah went overboard, couldn't help it. He rented out a room at the community center, bought decorations from the dollar store, ordered a cake shaped like a unicorn because Mia was deep in her unicorn phase. He invited every kid from her preschool class, plus Mrs. Chen, plus his one remaining friend from before Sarah, Dave, who lived in Beaverton and had 2 kids of his own. The party was chaos. 15 5-year-olds hopped up on sugar and cake, running in circles, screaming at frequencies that shouldn't be possible for human vocal cords. Noah tried to maintain order, failed miserably, gave up, and just made sure nobody died. Dave helped where he could, but mostly he stood back and laughed. "This is insane," Dave said, watching a kid try to eat frosting directly off another kid's face. "This is parenthood." "How are you not dead?" "Coffee, spite, routine physical examinations to make sure my heart is still beating." Dave laughed, then his expression shifted. "Hey, isn't that the woman from your building, the one you mentioned?" Noah looked up. Elena stood in the doorway, holding a wrapped present, looking uncertain. She wore a yellow sundress, not black, he noticed. First time he'd seen her in color since March. Her hair was down, loose around her shoulders. She looked scared. "Excuse me," Noah said to Dave and crossed the room. "Hi," Elena said when he reached her. "Hi. I wasn't sure if I should come. Mia's invitation was in my mailbox, and I thought maybe it was a mistake, but then I thought maybe it wasn't, and I didn't want to miss her birthday if she actually wanted me here, so I—" She stopped, took a breath. "I'm rambling." "Little bit. Can I stay?" Noah wanted to say no. Wanted to protect himself from whatever this was going to become. But then he saw Mia across the room, saw her face light up when she spotted Elena, saw her break away from her friends and run full speed toward them. "Elena!" Mia crashed into Elena's legs, hugging her hard. "You came!" Elena crouched down, meeting Mia at eye level. "Of course I came. Happy birthday, sweetheart." "I'm 5 now. That means I'm basically grown up." "Basically," Elena agreed, smiling. "Do you want to see my cake? It's a unicorn, and it has rainbow insides." "I would love to see your cake." Mia grabbed Elena's hand and dragged her toward the food table. Noah watched them go, feeling something complicated settle in his chest. Relief, maybe. Or dread. Possibly both. The party continued. Elena integrated seamlessly, helping to serve cake, mediating disputes over party favors, making small talk with the other parents. She was good with people, Noah realized, good at reading a room, at knowing what was needed. He wondered if that was something she'd learned, or if it had always been there. When the party finally ended and the last kid had been picked up, Noah stood in the wreckage of the community center room. Streamers on the floor, crushed paper plates, mysterious sticky spots everywhere. Mia was sitting in a corner with Elena, showing her the haul of birthday presents, explaining in great detail what each one was and why it was important. Dave appeared at Noah's elbow. "So that's her. That's her. She's pretty." "Dave?" "Just observing." Dave grabbed his keys from the table. "Listen, I gotta get my monsters home before they crash, but Noah?" "Yeah?" "Don't overthink it. Whatever this is with her, don't think it to death. Sometimes you just gotta jump." "Easy for you to say. You've been married for 8 years." "Exactly. Which means I know what I'm talking about." Dave clapped him on the shoulder. "See you around." After Dave left, Noah started cleaning up. Elena joined him after Mia got distracted by a balloon. "You don't have to help," Noah said. "I want to." Elena picked up a stack of paper plates, dumped them in the trash. "Thank you for inviting me." "I didn't, Mia did." "Still, thank you for letting me come." They worked in silence for a while, bagging trash, folding tables. Mia played with her balloon, singing a song she'd made up about unicorns and birthday cake. The community center was nearly empty now, just the 3 of them and the janitor mopping floors in the corner. "I've been thinking," Elena said, not looking at him, "about what you said on the fire escape, about being scared." Noah tied off a trash bag. "Yeah? I'm still scared, but I'm also tired of being alone. And I think—" She stopped, choosing her words carefully. "I think I'm ready to try. Not to go back to how it was before, but to see if maybe we could figure out something new." Noah's heart did something stupid in his chest. "What does that look like?" "I don't know. Coffee, maybe, occasionally, without the 5 a.m. desperation." "Revolutionary," Elena smiled. "Baby steps." "I can do baby steps." "Good." She looked at him then, really looked at him, and Noah saw something in her eyes that hadn't been there before. Something clear and certain. Because I miss you, both of you, and I don't think that's just the grief talking anymore. Before Noah could respond, Mia appeared between them, balloon in hand. Are you staying for dinner? Elena looked at Noah. Noah looked at Elena. If your dad says it's okay, Elena said. Can she, Daddy? Please? Noah thought about Dave's words, about jumping, about all the reasons this could go wrong and the one reason it might go right. Yeah, he said, she can stay. They went back to the apartment, the three of them. Noah ordered pizza because he was too tired to cook. They ate on the living room floor because Mia insisted it was more fun that way. Elena told stories about her college years, about the terrible apartments she'd lived in, the awful jobs she'd worked. Mia listened with rapt attention, asking questions, laughing at the funny parts. Noah watched them together and felt the fear lose its grip, just slightly. This wasn't perfect. It wasn't smooth or easy or guaranteed, but it was real. Two broken people and one kid trying to figure out how to be okay. Maybe that was enough. After dinner, Mia crashed hard the way kids do after parties. Noah carried her to bed, tucked her in, kissed her forehead. When he came back out, Elena was standing by the door, keys in hand. I should go, she said. You should. But neither of them moved. Coffee tomorrow? Elena asked. What time? Not 5 a.m. Radical. How about 10? There's that place on Division, the one with the good beans. Noah nodded. 10 works. Elena opened the door, then paused. Noah? Yeah? Thank you for not giving up on me. I didn't do anything. You did everything. She said it simply, like it was fact. Then she was gone, and Noah was alone again. But this time, the alone felt different, temporary, like something that would end in the morning. He cleaned up the pizza boxes, wiped down the counter, checked on Mia one more time. Then he sat on the couch in the dark, listening to the sounds of the building, pipes creaking, footsteps above, the distant hum of traffic. Somewhere up above him, Elena was doing the same. Two people in separate apartments, no longer quite as alone as they'd been. Noah's phone buzzed, a text from a number he didn't recognize. Then he realized he'd never actually had Elena's number before. Never needed it when she was knocking on his door every morning. The text said, "Thank you for today. Mia's lucky to have you." Noah typed back, "We're both lucky to have you around." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, "See you at 10. See you at..." Noah set his phone down, leaned back into the couch, and for the first time in weeks, let himself believe that maybe, just maybe, this could work. Not perfectly, not smoothly, but honestly. And honest was all he'd ever really wanted. The coffee shop on Division was packed at 10 on a Sunday morning, full of people who had the luxury of slow weekends. Noah spotted Elena at a corner table, 2 cups already waiting. She waved, and he navigated through the crowd, aware suddenly of how long it had been since he'd done something like this. Met someone for coffee like a normal person with a normal life. "I didn't know what you wanted, so I got you a regular drip," Elena said as he sat down. "That's what you always made at home, so I figured, it's perfect. Thank you." They sat there for a moment, both holding their cups, neither drinking. The silence stretched, but it wasn't comfortable yet. Too much unsaid between them, too much that had happened in the weeks apart. "This is weird," Elena said finally. "Yeah. We used to talk easy. When did that stop?" Noah wrapped his hands around the cup. "When we started thinking about what we were saying instead of just saying it. So we should stop thinking." "Good luck with that." Elena laughed, and the sound broke something open. The tension eased just slightly. She took a sip of her coffee, made a face. "This is actually terrible. Welcome to hipster coffee culture. Costs $6 and tastes like burnt water. Your coffee was better." "My coffee was cheap grocery store grounds in desperation." "Still better." Elena set her cup down. "How's Mia doing? Still on a birthday high?" "She woke up this morning devastated that she's not having another party today. I tried to explain that birthdays are annual events, but she's not convinced. She's 5. Time is meaningless. Everything is meaningless when you're 5, except unicorns. Those are sacred." They fell into easier conversation after that, trading stories about Mia, about Elena's week, about nothing important, but underneath it, Noah felt the current running. the thing neither of them was addressing. Finally, after his cup was empty and Elena was shredding her napkin into tiny pieces, he asked the question that had been sitting in his throat since yesterday. What changed between the fire escape and Mia's party? Elena stopped shredding. Honestly? Please. I got tired of my own bullshit. She looked up at him. I was so focused on doing grief the right way, on making sure I wasn't using you as a replacement for Mark, that I forgot to just feel. And then I got your daughter's birthday invitation in the mail, and I thought about not going, about playing it safe. And I realized that's all I've been doing since Mark died. Playing it safe, being careful, protecting myself from anything that might hurt. She pushed the napkin scraps into a pile. But you can't actually live like that. You just exist, and I'm tired of existing. Noah understood that. He'd been existing for 4 years, keeping everything controlled and small and manageable. It was only in the past few months, with Elena crashing into his mornings, that he'd remembered what it felt like to actually want something. So what do you want? He asked. I don't know yet, but I want to figure it out. With you, maybe, if that's something you want too. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. But you're scared. Terrified, Noah admitted. Sarah leaving, it broke something in me. Made me believe I wasn't worth staying for, that there was something fundamentally wrong with me that made people leave. There's nothing wrong with you, Noah. You don't know that. You've known me for 3 months. I know you show up. I know you let a grieving stranger sit on your couch at dawn without asking for anything in return. I know you're a good father. I know you're honest even when it would be easier to lie. Elena leaned forward. I know enough. Noah wanted to believe her, but belief required trust, and trust required risk, and risk was the thing he'd been avoiding. Still, sitting here with Elena, watching the morning light catch in her hair, seeing the steadiness in her eyes, he thought maybe he could try. Okay, he said. Okay? Let's figure it out, together, whatever this is. Elena smiled, real and bright. Baby steps? Baby steps. They left the coffee shop and walked toward the apartment, taking the long way through Ladd's addition, where the roses were blooming in wild profusion. Elena stopped to smell one, closed her eyes, and for a moment she looked peaceful. Noah took a mental picture, filed it away for later. Mark proposed to me in a rose garden, Elena said, eyes still closed. In Portland, actually. The International Rose Test Garden. It was July, peak bloom. He had this whole speech planned, but when he got down on one knee, he forgot everything and just said, "Marry me," over and over. Until I said yes. Noah didn't know what to say to that. Wasn't sure if Elena wanted him to say anything. I thought I'd never be able to be around roses again without crying, Elena continued. But this is nice, sad but nice. I think I'm learning the difference. Between what? Sad and destroyed. They're not the same thing. They walked on. Elena asked about Noah's work, and he explained what he did. Freelance web design, mostly small businesses, the occasional nonprofit. It paid the bills, barely, and gave him flexibility for Mia's schedule. Not glamorous, but it worked. Do you like it? Elena asked. Noah considered that. I don't hate it. That's about as good as it gets right now. What would you do if money wasn't an issue? Honestly, I don't know. I used to have dreams. Wanted to work for a big design firm, do cutting-edge UI work, win awards. But then Sarah got pregnant, and we needed stability, so I went freelance. And then she left, and I needed flexibility, so I stayed freelance. At some point, I stopped thinking about what I wanted and just focused on what was necessary. That sounds exhausting. It is what it is. Elena stopped walking. Do you ever let yourself want things just because you want them? Not because they're practical or necessary or responsible? Noah thought about it. Not really. No. Maybe you should start. Maybe. He looked at her. What about you? What did you want before Mark died? A baby. Elena said it simply, without emotion. That was the big thing. We'd been trying for a year, no luck. I was starting to look into fertility treatments when he died. She started walking again. Funny how fast priorities shift. One day you're obsessing over ovulation schedules, the next you're just trying to remember to eat. Do you still want kids? I don't know. Maybe. Someday. She glanced at him. Does that scare you? Should it? We're having a hypothetical conversation about my theoretical future children. If that doesn't scare you, you're braver than I thought. Noah laughed. I'm not brave, I'm just done pretending I know what I'm doing. They reached the building as noon sun broke through the clouds, heating up the day fast. Mrs. Chen was in the courtyard watering her tomato plants. She spotted them and smiled wide. Look who is walking together like normal people. Hi, Mrs. Chen, Noah said. You have good date? It wasn't, Noah started, but Elena cut him off. It was lovely, thank you. Mrs. Chen beamed. Good, good. You come to dinner tonight, both of you. I make lumpia and pancit. You bring the girl. Mrs. Chen, you don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. 6 o'clock. Don't be late. She went back to her tomatoes, clearly considering the matter settled. Noah looked at Elena. You just got us invited to dinner. She's very persuasive. She's terrifying. That too. Elena checked her phone. I should go. I have some work calls this afternoon. You're working? Noah realized he'd never asked what Elena did. He'd been so focused on her grief that everything else had faded into background noise. Marketing consultant? Mostly remote work, which is good because I can do it in my pajamas. She started toward the building entrance. See you at 6? Yeah, see you then. Noah watched her go, then headed up to his apartment where Mia was with the teenager from 2B who babysat sometimes. He paid her, thanked her, and found Mia in her room, surrounded by birthday presents, looking overwhelmed. There's too many toys, she announced. That's a good problem to have. Is it? Because I don't know which one to play with first and it's making my brain hurt. Noah sat down on the floor next to her. How about we put some away for later? That way you can enjoy them one at a time instead of all at once. That's actually a good idea, Daddy. Sometimes I have those. They spent the afternoon organizing, putting half the toys in the closet for rotation. Mia narrated the entire process, explaining which toys were good guys and which were bad guys, and why the unicorn was actually the queen of everything. Noah listened with half his attention, the other half on tonight. Dinner with Elena and Mrs. Chen, a normal thing, a step toward whatever came next. At 5:45, Noah changed his shirt twice before Mia told him he looked fine and needed to calm down. They went downstairs together, knocked on Mrs. Chen's door. The smell of frying garlic hit them immediately. Come, come! Mrs. Chen ushered them into her apartment, which was exactly like Noah's, but somehow completely different. Plants everywhere, pictures covering every wall, colorful fabric draped over the furniture. Elena was already there, sitting at the kitchen table, helping chop vegetables. Noah! Mia! Elena smiled. I got put to work immediately. She need to learn to cook, Mrs. Chen said. Can't live on sad sandwich forever. I make more than sandwiches, Elena protested. You make toast. Toast is not cooking. Dinner was loud and chaotic in the best way. Mrs. Chen told stories about growing up in Manila, about coming to America with $20 and a suitcase. Mia asked 1,000 questions, all of which Mrs. Chen answered patiently. Elena laughed more than Noah had ever heard her laugh, and somewhere between the lumpia and the pancit, he realized this felt like family. Not his family, not exactly, but a family. The kind you built instead of the kind you were born into. After dinner, Mrs. Chen produced a karaoke machine from somewhere and insisted they all sing. Mia went first, belting out Let It Go with more enthusiasm than accuracy. Elena did a surprisingly good rendition of an old Fleetwood Mac song. When it was Noah's turn, he tried to refuse, but 3 pairs of eyes stared him down until he grabbed the microphone and mumbled through Sweet Caroline while everyone else sang along. By 8 o'clock, Mia was falling asleep on the couch, and Noah knew they needed to go. He scooped her up, thanked Mrs. Chen, and headed for the door with Elena following. I'll walk you up, Elena said. They climbed the stairs slowly, Mia's weight solid and warm against Noah's chest. At his door, he fumbled for his keys one-handed while Elena steadied Mia's legs. Tonight was nice, Elena said softly. Yeah, it was. I haven't felt this normal in months. Maybe longer. Noah got the door open. You want to come in? Help me get her to bed? Elena hesitated, and Noah realized what he was asking. Coming in was different. Coming in was intimate in a way coffee wasn't. Yeah, Elena said finally. I do. Inside, Noah carried Mia to her room while Elena turned on the nightlight. Together, they got Mia out of her clothes and into pajamas without fully waking her. Noah brushed her teeth while she mumbled complaints, then tucked her in. Elena stood in the doorway, watching, and something crossed her face that Noah couldn't read. What? He whispered. Nothing. Just, you're good at this. The dad thing. I've had practice. Still. They moved back to the living room, leaving Mia's door cracked. Noah's apartment suddenly felt very small with both of them in it. He moved to the kitchen out of habit, started making coffee, then realized it was 8:30 p.m. and coffee was a terrible idea. Want tea? He asked. Or water? I have water. Water's good. He poured 2 glasses, handed her one. They sat on opposite ends of the couch, the space between them heavy with possibility. I should probably go, Elena said, not moving. Probably. It's late. You have work tomorrow. I do. Neither of them moved. Noah stared at his water glass, watching condensation form on the outside. Elena pulled her legs up under her, getting comfortable, and Noah's heart did that stupid thing again where it hoped. Can I ask you something? Elena said. Yeah. When Sarah left, did you see it coming? Noah hadn't expected that question. He thought back to those last days, tried to find the signs he'd missed. Maybe, if I'd been paying attention. She was distant for weeks, stayed out late, stopped asking about my day. I told myself she was just stressed about the baby, about money. But I think I knew. I just didn't want to know. Did she ever say why? She said she felt trapped, said she was too young to be a mother, that she'd made a mistake, that she couldn't do it anymore. Noah set his glass down. The thing is, I would have understood if she'd just talked to me. If she'd said she was struggling, we could have gotten help, counseling, family support, something. But she didn't want to fix it. She just wanted out. That must have been awful. It was. Still is sometimes. When Mia asks about her mom, or when other kids have both parents at school events. But mostly, I'm just angry that Sarah didn't even try, that she gave up on Mia before really knowing her. Elena nodded slowly. Mark and I used to fight about stupid things. Who did the dishes? Whose turn it was to grocery shop? And I'd get so mad, so frustrated that he couldn't just remember to put his laundry in the hamper. And now, her voice caught. Now I'd give anything to fight with him about laundry one more time, to have that stupid mundane problem instead of this. Grief's weird like that, makes you miss the things that used to annoy you. Do you miss Sarah? Not the leaving part, but the before? Noah thought about it honestly. No, I miss the idea of what we were supposed to be. The intact family, the partnership. But Sarah herself? I don't think I ever really knew her. Or maybe I knew her and just didn't want to see who she actually was. That's sad. Yeah, but it's also freeing, because it means the failure wasn't about me not being enough. It was about us not being right for each other. Elena shifted closer, and the space between them narrowed. Do you think... She stopped, started again. Do you think people can be right for each other at the wrong time? I don't know, maybe. Noah looked at her. You worried we're wrong time people? I'm worried I'm still too broken to know the difference. Elena, you're not broken. Then what am I? Healing. There's a difference. She studied him for a long moment, and Noah felt exposed under that gaze, like she could see all the way through him to the scared, uncertain person underneath. I want to kiss you, Elena said suddenly. I've wanted to for weeks, but I'm terrified that if I do, I'll ruin this, whatever this is, and I can't lose you too. I can't lose another person. Noah's heart hammered. You're not going to lose me. You can't promise that. No, but I can promise I won't leave without trying, that if this gets hard, I'll say something instead of just disappearing. Elena's eyes searched his face. Is this insane, us doing this? Probably. But you want to anyway? Yeah, I do. Elena moved then, closing the distance between them. She kissed him carefully, tentatively, like she was testing whether this was real. Noah kissed her back, gentle, aware that this moment mattered, that whatever came next would stem from this choice, this decision to risk everything on the possibility of something good. When they pulled apart, Elena's eyes were bright. Okay? Okay? I'm all in. Terrified, but in. I can work with terrified. She laughed, and the sound filled up all the empty spaces in Noah's chest. They sat there for a while longer, close together, not talking, just being. Outside, the city hummed its nighttime song. Inside, two people who'd been alone for too long learned how to make room for each other. Eventually, Elena did leave, but with plans to come back. For breakfast, maybe. Or lunch. Or just to exist in the same space. The specifics didn't matter. What mattered was the trying. After she left, Noah checked on Mia, still asleep, elephant clutched to her chest, then stood in his kitchen, replaying the evening. The kiss. The promise. The terrifying, exhilarating feeling of wanting something again. His phone buzzed. Elena. I meant it. All in. Noah typed back, me too. Then he turned off the lights and went to bed, knowing that morning would come early and bring with it all the complications they'd signed up for. But for the first time in years, he was okay with complicated. More than okay. He was ready. The next 3 weeks felt like learning to walk on ice. Beautiful and precarious, every step requiring attention. Noah and Elena fell into a new rhythm, but it wasn't smooth. Nothing about it was smooth. Elena started coming over for breakfast again, but differently now. She'd text first, asking if it was okay. Sometimes Noah said yes. Sometimes he said no because Mia had a rough night, or he had an early client call, or he just needed space to breathe. Elena took the no's without complaint, which made the yeses easier. They didn't tell Mia right away that something had changed, partly because they weren't sure what to call it, partly because Mia was 5 and wouldn't understand the complexity, and partly because Noah was terrified of introducing his daughter to someone who might not stay. So Elena remained the neighbor who visited sometimes, and Mia accepted that explanation without question. The first real fight happened on a Tuesday. Noah had picked Mia up from her summer program, a half-day thing at the community center where she did arts and crafts and came home covered in glitter. They were walking back to the apartment when Mia spotted Elena coming out of the building. "Elena, look what I made!" Mia held up a construction paper butterfly with pipe cleaner antennae. "That's beautiful, Mia." Elena crouched down to examine it properly. "Are those sequins on the wings?" 47 of them. I counted. Very impressive. Elena stood, and Noah saw something flicker across her face. Stress, maybe, or exhaustion. "You okay?" he asked quietly while Mia ran ahead to the entrance. "Fine. Just work stuff. Want to talk about it?" "Not really." They went upstairs together, and while Noah started making snacks for Mia, Elena sat at the kitchen table staring at her phone with the kind of intensity that meant she was reading something she didn't want to read. "Seriously, what's wrong?" Noah asked, setting apple slices and peanut butter in front of Mia. "It's nothing. Just a client being difficult." "Elena." She looked up, and her eyes were harder than he'd seen them in weeks. "My business partner wants to dissolve the company. He sent me an email today. Very professional, very businesslike. Says the grief is affecting my work quality. The clients are complaining that it would be best for everyone if we went our separate ways." "Well," Noah stopped mid-motion. Can he do that? Legally?" "Yeah, we structured everything as an LLC with dissolution clauses. I'd get my share of the assets, but I'd lose half my client base." She set her phone down harder than necessary. "The thing is, he's not wrong. I have been distracted. I have missed deadlines. But instead of talking to me like a human being, he's just cutting me loose. That's still a garbage way to handle it." "Welcome to business." Elena rubbed her face. "I should have seen it coming. Tom's been weird since Mark died. Distant. I thought he was giving me space, but he was probably just planning his exit strategy." Mia appeared at Noah's elbow. "Why is Elena sad?" "She's having a hard day at work, Bug." "Is someone being mean to her?" Elena managed a small smile. "Kind of, yeah." "You should tell a teacher. That's what I do when kids are mean." "That's good advice, sweetheart." Elena stood. "I should go. I need to figure out how to respond to this email without setting my laptop on fire." "You could stay," Noah offered. "We're just having an easy night. Mac and cheese, maybe a movie." Elena hesitated, and Noah saw her calculate, saw her weigh the comfort of company against the vulnerability of staying when she was feeling raw. "I don't think I'd be good company right now," she said finally. "That's okay. You don't have to be good company. But Elena was already heading for the door. I'll text you later. She left, and Noah stood there feeling like he'd failed some test he didn't know he was taking. Mia tugged on his shirt. Is Elena mad at us? No, Bug. She's just dealing with grown-up stuff. Grown-up stuff sounds terrible. It really is. Noah texted Elena that night after Mia was asleep. You okay? The response came 30 minutes later. Not really, but I will be. He wanted to push, to offer help, to do something. But he remembered what Elena had said about needing to stand on her own. So instead he just wrote, I'm here if you need me. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, I know. Thank you. The next morning, Elena knocked at 6:15. Noah opened the door to find her holding 2 coffee cups from the expensive place. Peace offering, she said, for being weird yesterday. You weren't weird, you were dealing with something hard. I was shutting you out, again. She came inside, handed him one of the cups. I do that. When things get bad, I close up, push people away. Mark used to hate it. I'm not Mark. I know. But I'm still me. Still the person who handles everything alone because asking for help feels like weakness. Noah took a sip of the coffee. It was good, which annoyed him slightly. So what are you going to do? About your business partner? Fight him probably, or take the buyout and start over. I haven't decided yet. Elena sat on the couch, pulled her knees up. The stupid thing is, I don't even know if I want to keep doing this. Marketing consulting pays well, but I'm not passionate about it. I fell into it after college because I was good at it, and then Mark and I had this life that required a certain income, and I just kept going. What would you do if money wasn't an issue? You asked me that before. You didn't answer. Elena was quiet for a long moment. I think I'd teach. Maybe community college, marketing, or business courses. Something where I could actually help people instead of just helping companies sell more stuff. She laughed without humor. Mark always said teaching didn't pay enough. He wasn't wrong, but maybe having enough isn't the same as having everything. No, Noah agreed. It's not. They sat in silence, drinking their expensive coffee, and Noah felt the weight of all the things neither of them was saying. The fear of failing at this, whatever this was. The terror of wanting something and losing it. The exhausting work of being vulnerable with another person when every instinct screamed to protect yourself. Mia's alarm went off down the hall, breaking the moment. I should get her up, Noah said. I should go anyway. I have a meeting at 9. Elena left, but something had shifted again. They were learning each other's patterns. The way Elena retreated when stressed. The way Noah went silent when hurt. Learning wasn't the same as fixing, but it was a start. The second fight was worse. It happened on a Friday night, 2 weeks later. Noah had arranged for Mrs. Chen to watch Mia so he and Elena could have an actual date. Dinner at a real restaurant with cloth napkins and a wine list. He'd been looking forward to it for days. Had even bought a new shirt because all his others had stains from Mia's various art projects. Elena showed up at his door at 6, wearing a black dress that made Noah forget how to form sentences. She smiled when she saw his expression. Is this okay? I wasn't sure what kind of place we were going to. It's perfect. You're perfect. Noah stopped, regrouped. You look great. They took the bus downtown because Noah's car was making a worrying noise and he couldn't afford to fix it yet. The restaurant was nice, but not fancy. The kind of place where the food was good and the prices wouldn't destroy his budget. Elena ordered wine, Noah got a beer, and for the first hour, everything was fine. Better than fine. They talked about work, about Mia's new obsession with astronomy, about the hiking trip Elena wanted to take if she could work up the nerve to go camping alone. Then Elena's phone rang. She glanced at the screen and her face changed. I'm sorry, I need to take this. It's Tom. Your business partner? Yeah, we've been negotiating the buyout. This might be important. She stepped outside and Noah sat there, watching his beer go flat, trying not to feel irritated. It was one call, one interruption. Not a big deal, except it was 15 minutes. Then 20. Noah ordered appetizers because the waiter kept hovering. By the time Elena came back, he'd eaten all the calamari by himself and was working on his second beer. I'm so sorry, Elena said, sliding back into her seat. That took forever. Tom's being impossible about the client contracts. It's fine. You're annoyed. I'm not annoyed. Noah, I can see your jaw doing that thing. He set his beer down. Okay, I'm a little annoyed. We had one night, just us. And Tom couldn't wait until tomorrow? He's in a different time zone. He's leaving for Tokyo tomorrow and needed to finalize things before his flight. Right, of course. Noah signaled for the waiter. Should we just order? They did, but the easiness from before was gone. Elena kept checking her phone. Noah kept not saying he minded. Dinner arrived, some kind of salmon for her, steak for him, and they ate mostly in silence. This was supposed to be nice, Elena said finally, pushing food around her plate. It is nice. You're lying. I'm trying not to fight. Maybe we should fight. Get it out in the open instead of pretending everything's fine. Noah set his fork down. Okay, fine. I'm pissed that you took a 20-minute phone call during our first real date in 3 weeks. I'm pissed that work is always going to come first because you're dealing with this buyout situation. I'm pissed that I can't compete with all the other things in your life that are more important than me. Elena stared at him. That's not fair. Maybe not, but it's how I feel. You think work is more important to me than you? I think you're still figuring out your priorities, and I get it. I do. You're in crisis mode with the business. But I've been here before, Elena. I've been the person someone squeezes in between everything else that matters more. And I told myself I wouldn't do that again. I'm not Sarah. I know that, but the feeling's the same. Elena's eyes flashed. So what do you want me to do? Ignore my business falling apart because it's inconvenient for you? That's not what I said. It's what you meant. No, it's not. I just want to feel like I matter. Like this, he gestured between them, is something you actually want, not just something you're doing because you're lonely. The words hung there, sharp and cutting. Elena's face went pale. You think I'm with you because I'm lonely? I don't know what to think. You keep one foot out the door, keep reminding me you need space, that you're still healing, that you don't know what you want. And I'm trying to be patient, trying to give you room, but I'm also falling for you, and I don't know if you're falling back or just killing time until you figure out your next move. Elena stood up. I need some air. Elena, I'll be back. I just need a minute. She walked out of the restaurant, and Noah sat there feeling like an idiot. He'd pushed too hard, said too much. The waiter appeared with dessert menus, took one look at Noah's face, and retreated. 10 minutes passed, then 15. Noah paid the bill, cash he'd been saving for emergencies, but this qualified, and went outside to find Elena sitting on a bench down the block, arms wrapped around herself despite the warm evening. I'm sorry, Noah said, sitting down next to her but not touching. That came out wrong. No, it didn't. It came out exactly how you meant it. Elena's voice was steady, which somehow made it worse. And you're right. I am keeping one foot out because I'm terrified, Noah. I'm terrified of needing you too much, of building my life around you and then losing you too, of being that person who can't function without someone else. That's not what I want either. Then what do you want? I want you to be all in. Not perfectly, not without fear, just honestly. I want to know that when you're with me, you're actually with me, not planning your exit strategy. Elena turned to look at him. I don't have an exit strategy. Then why does it feel like you do? She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Because I don't trust myself yet. I don't trust that I'm choosing you for the right reasons, and I'm scared that if I go all in and it turns out I was wrong, that I was just trying to fill the mark-shaped hole in my life, I'll have hurt you for nothing. You think you're going to hurt me? I think I might. Not on purpose, but... She stopped. I'm still a mess, Noah. I'm better than I was, but I'm not fixed. I have days where I can't get out of bed. Days where I'm angry at everyone, including you. Days where I think about Mark and cry in grocery store parking lots. And you deserve someone who's whole. Nobody's whole. We're all just broken in different ways, trying to figure out how to fit together anyway. That's very romantic. It's realistic. Noah shifted to face her. Look, I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to stop protecting me from your mess. I can handle your mess. I have plenty of my own. Elena looked at him for a long moment. What if I can't do this? What if I try and it's too hard and I bail? Then you bail and we deal with it. but at least we tried. And Mia? That was the question Noah had been avoiding. Mia's already attached to you. If this falls apart, it's going to hurt her. But that's the risk of letting people in. Sometimes they leave. And maybe I'm a terrible father for taking that risk with my kid's heart, but I'm doing it anyway because I think what we could have is worth it. Elena's eyes were shining. You're really all in, aren't you? Terrified, but yeah. She kissed him then, right there on the bench with people walking past and the evening turning to night around them. When they pulled apart, she was crying. I'm all in too, she whispered. I'm sorry it took me so long to say it. They went back to Noah's apartment, paid Mrs. Chen for babysitting, and found Mia asleep on the couch, clutching a book about constellations. Noah carried her to bed while Elena waited in the living room. When he came back out, Elena was standing by the window, looking out at the city lights. I should go, she said, but she didn't move. Or you could stay. Elena turned. Noah, not like that. Just stay. Watch a movie. Fall asleep on the couch. Wake up when Mia jumps on us at 6 a.m. Stay. She studied him, weighing. Are you sure? No, but I'm asking anyway. Elena smiled, and this time it reached her eyes. Okay, I'll stay. They watched half a movie neither of them cared about, talking through most of it. Elena told him about her childhood in Sacramento, about her mom who still called every Sunday, about her sister who lived in Denver with 2 kids and a husband who coached Little League. Noah told her about his parents who'd retired to Arizona, about the brother he barely talked to anymore, about the dreams he'd given up and the ones he was still holding on to. Somewhere around midnight, Elena fell asleep with her head on Noah's shoulder. He sat there, afraid to move and wake her, watching the credits roll and thinking about risk, about choosing to want something even when wanting meant vulnerability, about showing up anyway, even when every instinct said to protect yourself. Eventually, he dozed off too, and when he woke at 2 a.m. with a crick in his neck, Elena was still there, still breathing softly, still present. He carefully shifted her into a more comfortable position, draped a blanket over both of them, and let himself believe that maybe, just maybe, this could work. Morning came with Mia's voice, loud and indignant. Why is Elena sleeping on our couch? Noah opened his eyes to find his daughter standing 2 feet away, hands on her hips, looking like a tiny judge ready to deliver a verdict. She stayed over to watch a movie, Noah said quietly, trying not to wake Elena. We fell asleep. Is she your girlfriend now? Elena stirred at that, blinked awake. Good morning, Mia. Are you Daddy's girlfriend? Mia repeated, because 5-year-olds had no concept of subtlety. Elena looked at Noah. Noah looked at Elena. They'd been dancing around that word for weeks, both afraid to claim it. Would that be okay with you? Elena asked carefully. If I was? Mia considered this with the seriousness of a Supreme Court justice. Will you leave like Mommy did? The question hit like a punch. Noah started to intervene, but Elena held up a hand. I can't promise I'll never leave, Elena said, meeting Mia's eyes, because sometimes things happen that nobody expects. But I can promise that if I'm here, I'm really here. And I can promise that I care about you and your daddy very much. Mia processed this. Do you like unicorns? I love unicorns. Okay, you can be the girlfriend. Mia turned to Noah. Can I have waffles? Sure, Bug. Mia skipped to the kitchen like she hadn't just dropped a bomb on the morning. Noah and Elena sat there, still half covered by the blanket, grinning at each other like idiots. So I'm the girlfriend now, Elena said. Apparently. Mia has spoken. She's a tough negotiator. Wait until she starts asking for a raise in her allowance. Elena laughed, and the sound filled the apartment with something that felt dangerously close to joy. They made breakfast together, waffles for Mia, eggs for the adults. Elena burned the toast and Noah spilled coffee grounds everywhere, and Mia narrated the whole thing like a sports commentator. It was chaotic and imperfect and exactly right. After breakfast, Elena went to her apartment to shower and change. Noah cleaned up the kitchen, got Mia dressed, and tried not to overthink what had just happened. They'd crossed a line, made it official, not just between themselves, but in front of Mia. There was no taking that back now. His phone buzzed. Elena. Thank you for letting me stay. Noah. Thank you for staying. Elena. See you later? Noah. Yeah, see you later. He set his phone down and looked at Mia, who was building something elaborate with blocks on the living room floor. You okay with Elena being around more? He asked. Mia didn't look up from her construction. Duh. She's nice and she makes you smile. You don't smile enough, Daddy. I smile. Not like you do when she's here. Noah had no response to that. His 5-year-old had just delivered a truth he'd been avoiding for weeks. Elena made him happy, really happy. The kind that wasn't just relief from stress or brief absence of worry, but actual joy. That afternoon, Elena came back with groceries and announced she was making dinner. Noah protested that she didn't have to, and Elena said she wanted to, and Mia said they should stop arguing and let her cook. So Elena took over the kitchen while Noah helped Mia with a puzzle, and the apartment filled with the smell of garlic and tomatoes and something that smelled suspiciously like actual cooking. They ate at the table, pasta with homemade sauce, salad, bread Elena had picked up from the bakery. Mia declared it the best dinner ever, which was high praise from a kid who lived on chicken nuggets. Where did you learn to cook like this? Noah asked. My grandmother. She was Italian, very serious about food. Used to make me help in the kitchen every Sunday. Elena twirled pasta on her fork. I haven't cooked much since Mark died. Didn't see the point for just me. Well, this is amazing. It's just pasta. It's good pasta. Elena smiled and Noah saw something settle in her expression. A peace that hadn't been there before. Like she was finally allowing herself to be here, in this moment, without constantly looking over her shoulder at the past or ahead to potential catastrophe. After dinner, they did dishes together while Mia watched cartoons. Elena washed, Noah dried, and they worked in comfortable silence until Elena spoke. I made a decision today about the business. Noah set down the plate he was drying. Yeah? I'm taking the buyout, letting Tom have the company, and I'm going back to school to get my teaching certificate. Really? Really? I've been thinking about it since we talked, and I realized I don't want to keep doing something just because it pays well. Life's too short. Mark's death taught me that much. She handed him another plate. It'll be tight financially for a while. I'll have to take a loan, probably work part-time, but I think it's the right move. For what it's worth, I think so too. You do? Yeah. You light up when you talk about teaching. You never lit up talking about marketing. Elena bumped her shoulder against his. When did you get so observant? I pay attention. I've noticed. They finished the dishes, and Elena stayed until Mia's bedtime, reading her 3 books and answering approximately 500 questions about stars. After Mia was asleep, Noah walked Elena to the door. You don't have to leave, he said. You could stay again. I could, Elena agreed. But maybe I shouldn't. Not yet. Not until we figure out what this looks like day to day. Baby steps. Baby steps. She kissed him goodly, but bigger ones than before. After she left, Noah stood at the window, watching her light come on 3 floors up. His phone buzzed. Elena, thank you for fighting with me at dinner, for saying what you needed instead of just swallowing it. Noah, thank you for not running when I did. Elena, I'm done running, from you anyway. Noah, good, I'm done chasing. Elena, so what do we do now? Noah, we just keep showing up, I guess. Elena, I can do that. Noah smiled at his phone, feeling something unfamiliar and terrifying settle in his chest. Hope. Real hope. Not the careful, guarded kind he'd been carrying for years. The kind that required faith in another person, faith that she'd keep showing up even when things got hard. He looked out at the city, at the lights reflecting off the clouds, at Elena's window where her shadow moved behind the curtains. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new fears, new opportunities to fail. But tonight, right now, he was okay with that. More than okay. He was ready. The knock came at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in late July. Noah was already awake, had been for an hour, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the client who just ghosted him and the bills piling up on the kitchen counter. When he heard the sound, quiet and hesitant, his first thought was that he'd imagined it. Then it came again, more insistent. He opened the door to find Elena in pajamas, eyes red, shaking. I can't breathe, she said. I'm in my apartment and I can't breathe and everything's closing in, and I didn't know where else to go. Noah pulled her inside without a word, guided her to the couch. Panic attack? She nodded, hands clutching her chest. It's been months. I thought I was past this. Sit. Breathe with me. Noah sat beside her, taking slow, exaggerated breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Match me. Elena tried, failed, tried again. Her breathing was ragged, desperate. Noah kept his own steady, a rhythm for her to follow. Slowly, painfully slowly, she synced with him. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Finally, her shoulders dropped and the color started returning to her face. I'm sorry, she gasped. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. What triggered it? I was going through boxes. Mark's things. I've been putting it off for months, but the lease on the storage unit is up next week and I needed to decide what to keep. She pressed her palms against her eyes. I found his college sweatshirt, the one he wore every Sunday morning, and it still smelled like him, and I just broke. Noah put his arm around her and she collapsed against him. They sat like that for a long time, Elena crying quietly, Noah just holding her. Eventually she pulled back, wiping her face with her sleeve. This is what you signed up for, you know. The mess, the breakdowns at 3 a.m. I know. Does it scare you? A little, but not enough to make me leave. Elena looked at him, vulnerability written across every line of her face. I don't know how to do this, how to move forward without feeling like I'm betraying him. You're not betraying anyone by living your life. It feels like I am. Like every time I'm happy with you, I'm erasing him. Like I'm not allowed to have both, the love I had for Mark and the love I'm starting to feel for you. There it was, the word neither of them had said yet, hanging in the air between them. You think you're starting to love me? Noah asked quietly. Elena met his eyes. I know I am. That's what scares me most. Noah's heart hammered. He wanted to say it back, wanted to tell her that he was already there, had been for weeks. But the words stuck in his throat, caught behind 4 years of self-protection. I'm not good at this, he said instead, at saying what I feel. Then don't say it. Just don't run. That's all I need. Someone who doesn't run when things get hard. I can do that. They sat in the dark living room, the city quiet around them, and Noah felt the weight of what they were building. It wasn't pretty or easy. It was two people trying to be brave enough to want something again, even knowing how badly it could hurt. Stay here tonight, Noah said. Take the bed. I'll sleep on the couch. I can't kick you out of your own bed. You're not kicking me out. I'm offering. Elena was too tired to argue. Noah gave her one of his t-shirts, showed her where the extra toothbrush was, and made up the couch for himself. Through the thin wall, he could hear her moving around in his room, and something about that felt significant. Elena in his space, wearing his clothes, trusting him with her worst moments. Sleep didn't come easy. Noah lay on the couch, listening to the sounds of the building, thinking about Elena, 3 rooms away, thinking about love and timing and whether any of this was a good idea. His phone buzzed with a 4 a.m. email from a client. More revisions, more demands, no additional pay. He started to stress, then stopped himself. Tomorrow's problem. Tonight, he just needed to be present for the person who'd knocked on his door in the middle of the night. When morning came, he found Elena already awake, sitting at the kitchen table with coffee she'd somehow made without waking him. You look terrible, she said. Good morning to you too. I'm serious. When's the last time you slept a full night? Noah thought about it. Define full night. Noah. I sleep fine. Just light. Habit from when Mia was a baby. Elena set her mug down. You're burning out. I can see it. The bags under your eyes, the way you're chugging coffee, the stress in your shoulders. When's the last time you took a day off? I took Mia to the zoo 3 weeks ago. That's not a day off. That's parenting. When's the last time you did something just for you? Noah couldn't remember. Work, Mia, Elena. Repeat. That was the cycle. There wasn't room for just him. I'm fine, he said. You're not. And I get it. You're a single dad, money's tight. You can't afford to take breaks. But you're going to break anyway if you keep this up. She stood, moved closer. Let me help. With Mia, with bills, with whatever you need. You don't have to do everything alone. Elena, I can't take your money. I'm not offering money. I'm offering time. Let me watch Mia sometimes so you can sleep in, or work without interruptions, or just stare at a wall for 3 hours. Whatever you need. That's not fair to you. Why not? You've been doing it for me for months. Let me return the favor. Pride warred with exhaustion in Noah's chest. Pride lost. Okay, he said. Thank you. Elena smiled. That wasn't so hard, was it? Excruciating, actually. Mia wandered out then, rubbing sleep from her eyes. She saw Elena and brightened immediately. Are you staying for breakfast? If that's okay with your dad. It's always okay, Mia said, with the certainty of someone who'd already decided Elena was a permanent fixture. They made pancakes together, the three of them. Elena let Mia crack the eggs, which resulted in shell fragments Noah had to fish out. Mia insisted on flipping the pancakes herself, which resulted in one on the floor and two that looked like abstract art. But nobody cared. The kitchen was warm and loud and full, and for the first time in years, Noah's apartment felt like something more than just a place to survive. The next week was hard in different ways. Elena started her online teaching certification program, which meant hours of coursework on top of finishing up her last consulting contracts. Noah had 3 projects due simultaneously, all with impossible deadlines. Mia started kindergarten and cried every morning at drop-off, convinced her teacher didn't like her even though her teacher was lovely. They traded off, passing Mia between them like a relay baton. Elena picked her up from school on Tuesday when Noah had a client call. Noah took her to the park on Thursday when Elena had an exam. They had dinner together most nights, either at Noah's apartment or Elena's, which was slowly becoming less of a shrine to her old life and more of a space she actually lived in. The cracks started showing on a Saturday in August. Noah had been working since 5 a.m. on a website redesign that was due Monday. The client kept changing requirements, adding features, moving deadlines. He was behind, stressed, and when Mia asked if they could go to the science museum, he snapped, "Not today, Mia. I'm working. You're always working. Because work pays for things like food in this apartment. I hate work. Work is stupid. Mia, I don't have time for this." She burst into tears, the big, dramatic kind that meant she was overtired and overwhelmed. Noah felt guilt crash over him, but he didn't have time to process it. He had 4 hours of work left, and it was already noon. His phone rang. Elena. "I'm coming over," she said without preamble. "Elena, I'm slammed. I can't. I'm not asking. I'm telling you. I'll be there in 5 minutes." She showed up with takeout and a firm expression. "You're taking a break. Mia's coming with me to Powell's. We'll get books, have lunch, give you 3 hours of uninterrupted work time, and you're going to accept this help without arguing because you look like you're about to combust." Elena. 3 hours, Noah. Take them. Mia was already putting on her shoes, excited about the bookstore. Elena gave Noah a look that said she wasn't taking no for an answer. So he nodded, watched them leave, and stood in the sudden silence of his apartment feeling like he'd just been hit by a very caring truck. He worked. Got more done in 3 hours than he had all morning. When Elena and Mia came back, they were both carrying bags from the bookstore, laughing about something. Mia ran to show Noah her haul, 5 books about space and 1 about a dinosaur who was scared of the dark. "Did you actually buy 5 books?" Noah asked Elena. 6. "One's for you." She handed him a slim paperback. "About learning to accept help. The woman at the store recommended it." Very subtle. I'm not known for subtlety. That night, after Mia was in bed, Noah and Elena sat on his couch with beer and the exhaustion that came from making it through another hard day. "I'm sorry," Noah said, "for being proud and stupid." "You're not stupid. You're just used to doing everything yourself." "Same thing sometimes." Elena took a sip of her beer. "Can I tell you something without you getting defensive?" "I'll try." "You're so busy being strong for everyone that you're not letting yourself be human. You don't sleep enough. You work too hard. You never ask for help. And I get it. You've been alone for so long that you forgot how to not be. But you're not alone anymore, Noah. You have me. You have Mrs. Chen, who would watch Mia in a heartbeat. You have Dave, who texts you every week asking to hang out, and you always say you're busy. You have people. Let them help." Noah stared at his beer bottle. "What if I don't know how?" "Then learn, because this—" She gestured at him. isn't sustainable, and I can't watch you burn yourself out trying to be everything for everyone. I'm scared, Noah admitted, that if I let myself need people, they'll leave, like Sarah did. Like my parents did when they moved to Arizona without asking if I needed them to stay, like everyone does eventually. I'm not leaving. Not because things are hard, not because you need me, not for any reason that's in my control. Elena set her beer down. But you have to let me in. Actually in. Not just surface level, not just when it's convenient, all the way. Noah looked at her, sitting on his couch in old jeans and a t-shirt, hair in a messy bun, no makeup, completely real. And he realized he'd been doing exactly what he'd accused Elena of doing, keeping one foot out the door, protecting himself from the possibility of being hurt. I'm falling in love with you, he said. The words came out rough, unpracticed. I think I have been since you showed up at my door at 6 a.m. with mascara all over your face. And it terrifies me because the last time I loved someone, they destroyed me. But I'm doing it anyway because you're everything I didn't know I needed. Elena's eyes went bright with tears. Say that again. I love you. Messy, complicated, scared as hell, but I love you. She kissed him then, deep and certain, and Noah felt something in his chest unlock. When they pulled apart, Elena was smiling through tears. I love you too, even though you're terrible at accepting help, and you work too much, and you're way too hard on yourself. Those are my best qualities. They're really not. They laughed, and it felt like release. Like finally admitting what they'd both known for weeks, but were too afraid to claim. So what now? Noah asked. Now we figure it out, together. Actually together. I'm gonna mess this up sometimes. I will too. But we'll mess it up together and fix it together and keep showing up anyway. Noah pulled her closer. I can do that. They sat like that for a long time, tangled up on the couch. And Noah felt something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not the absence of problems, but the presence of someone willing to face them with him. The next morning, Elena was still there when Mia woke up. They'd fallen asleep on the couch again, and Mia found them wrapped around each other, peaceful in the early light. Are you guys getting married? Mia asked, because 5-year-olds had no filter. Noah and Elena both startled awake. What? Noah said. Mrs. Chen says people who love each other get married. Do you guys love each other? Elena looked at Noah. Noah looked at Elena. They both started laughing. We do love each other, Elena said. But we're not getting married right now. Maybe someday. When someday? When we figure out how to be us first, Noah said. Before we become we. Mia wrinkled her nose. That doesn't make sense. Welcome to adult relationships, Bug. The weeks that followed were easier in some ways, harder in others. They stopped pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. Noah told Elena when he was stressed about money. Elena told Noah when she had bad grief days. They fought sometimes, about stupid things like who left dishes in the sink, about serious things like how fast to move, about everything in between, but they talked through it, showed up anyway. In September, Elena officially completed her buyout and enrolled full-time in her certification program. Money was tighter for her, so she moved to a cheaper apartment, still in the same building, but smaller, 1 floor down. Noah helped her pack up Mark's things, sitting with her while she cried over photographs and letters and the life she'd had. I loved him, Elena said, holding Mark's college sweatshirt. I want you to know that. What I had with Mark was real. I know. But this, what we have, it's real too. Different, but real. And I'm not choosing one over the other. I'm choosing both. The love I had and the love I have now. You're allowed to have both. I'm starting to believe that. She donated most of Mark's clothes, kept the sweatshirt and a few photographs, and let the rest go. Not erasing him, but making room for what came next. In October, Noah's car finally died for good. He couldn't afford to fix it, couldn't afford a new one. Elena offered to lend him money. Noah refused. They fought about it for 2 days until Dave stepped in with a used Honda he was selling. Reliable, affordable, ugly as hell, but functional. Noah bought it with savings he'd been hoarding for emergencies, and Elena agreed to split the insurance costs since she'd be using it sometimes too. It wasn't perfect. Money was still tight. Mia still had meltdowns. Elena still had panic attacks occasionally. Noah still worked too hard. but they were doing it together, which made it survivable. In November, on a cold Portland morning with rain hammering the windows, Elena knocked on Noah's door at 6 a.m. Noah opened it, already smiling. "This feels familiar. Can I come in?" "Always." She came inside, and this time she looked nervous. "I have something to ask you." "Okay." "My lease is up in January. I could renew, but I've been thinking maybe I don't need my own apartment anymore. Maybe we could—" She stopped. "This is harder than I thought." Noah's heart was pounding.
"Are you asking to move in?" "Only if you want. I know it's fast. I know it's complicated with Mia. But I'm here every day anyway, and I love you both, and it seems stupid to keep paying for an apartment I barely use." Noah thought about his small two-bedroom, about how crowded it would be with three of them, about all the ways this could go wrong. Then he thought about Elena at his kitchen table every morning, about Mia's face lighting up when she came home, about falling asleep next to someone he loved, and waking up with them still there. "Yes," he said. "Move in with us." Elena's smile could have powered the city. "Really?" "Really, but we're getting a bigger place. This apartment is too small for 3 people." "Noah, I can't ask you to move." "You're not asking. I'm telling you."
"We'll find something in the same neighborhood, close to Mia's school. Something with space for your books and my equipment and Mia's ever-growing collection of unicorn paraphernalia. A place that's ours, not just mine or yours." Elena kissed him, and it tasted like coffee and happiness and the future they were building together. They found an apartment 3 blocks away, a 3-bedroom with a decent kitchen and a small balcony and rent that was manageable with both their incomes combined. They moved in January during the coldest week of the year, with help from Mrs. Chen and Dave and half a dozen neighbors who'd become friends. Mia got her own room, decorated exactly how she wanted: purple walls, glow-in-the-dark stars, a bookshelf already overflowing. Elena took the 2nd bedroom as an office for her schoolwork. Noah set up his equipment in the living room, which had better light anyway. The first night in the new apartment, after Mia was asleep and the boxes were mostly unpacked, Noah and Elena stood on the balcony watching the city lights. "We did it," Elena said. "Built something real. We're building it. Present tense. It's not done." "No," she agreed, "but it's good. Even unfinished, it's good." Noah pulled her close. "I'm glad you knocked on my door that morning. I'm glad you opened it." They stood there in the cold, holding each other, and Noah thought about the morning in March when a grieving stranger had shown up at dawn asking for nothing but a place to sit. How he'd been so careful then, so guarded, so determined not to let anyone in. How she'd crashed through all of that just by being honest about her pain. 2 broken people choosing each other, choosing to build something new from the pieces of what they'd lost. Inside, Mia called out in her sleep, something about dinosaurs and spaceships. Noah smiled, went to check on her. She was fine, tangled in her blankets, clutching her stuffed elephant. He tucked her in properly, kissed her forehead, and thought about how much his life had changed in less than a year. When he came back to the balcony, Elena was still there, watching the rain that had started to fall. "She okay?" Elena asked. "Dreaming about dinosaurs in space." "Of course she is." They went inside, locked the door, turned off the lights. In the bedroom they now shared, Elena took Noah's hand. "Thank you," she said, "for being patient with me, for not giving up when I was a mess. We were both a mess. Still are sometimes. But we're a mess together now." "Yeah," Noah said, pulling her close. "We are." They fell asleep tangled together, and in the morning Mia woke them by jumping on the bed at 6:15, demanding pancakes and declaring that their new apartment was the best place in the world. Elena made pancakes while Noah got Mia ready for school. They ate together, the 3 of them, and it was chaotic and loud and perfect. After breakfast, Noah walked Mia to school while Elena started her coursework for the day. When he got back, he found Elena at the kitchen table, surrounded by textbooks, wearing his old sweatshirt. She looked up and smiled. "Coffee?" she offered. "Always." She poured him a cup from the pot she'd made. Still not great coffee, but getting better. They sat together in the morning light, not talking, just existing in the same space. And Noah realized this was what he'd been missing all along. Not perfection, not certainty, just presence. Someone willing to show up day after day, through the good and the bad, and everything in between. I love you, he said, because it was easier to say now. I love you too, Elena replied, like it was the simplest truth in the world. And maybe it was. Maybe that's all love really needed to be. Two people choosing each other over and over, despite the fear and the mess and the uncertainty. Two people building a life together, one morning at a time. Outside, Portland rain tapped against the windows. Inside, coffee brewed and textbooks lay open, and somewhere down the hall, evidence of a 5-year-old's chaos waited to be cleaned up. It wasn't the life either of them had planned, but it was the life they'd built together. Imperfect, complicated, and exactly right. Noah looked at Elena, at the woman who'd knocked on his door in her darkest moment and somehow become his light. He thought about the journey they'd taken, the walls they'd broken down, the trust they'd built. It hadn't been smooth or easy, but it had been real. And in the end, real was all that mattered.